Slurp-de-diddly-doo, my wonderful G's, and welcome to another little video about current. Firstly, today I want to show you a lovely little loop that I came up with this morning in the kitchen on the Bluetooth headset, and it sounds like this. Like this. So really nice, but we're going to dive into the sound design on current again today, and I've basically used the same patch, but I've done two versions of it with different arp and chords on it and slightly different sound design. But we'll break down the main one, which I have labelled as Save the Small Talk. I have already done almost 10 presets now, I think, with this synth. I might have to do a little preset pack soon. But yeah, so what we've got then is a really nice combination of a blend of sound sources, a nice blend, and then a wonderful use of the arp and chord section again, because that's just so much fun to create cool rhythms with. And let's turn that off for maybe. Well, maybe no, I think we've got to leave. We have to leave it on. Yeah, we'll just talk about the arp and the chord first. So for the chord, I have, thank you to my loyal subscriber, the name is Arnold, for mentioning that these settings down here, they're really modes, not scales. I accidentally referred to them as scales, but yes, you're correct, there are different modes. And the Mixolydian, the Mixolydian mode is wonderful. That sounds perfect for drum and bass. I really like that. And so I've chosen the Mixolydian mode. I've got the default chord basically going on here. And yeah, that just having that mode on, you know, rather than minor, rather than major, whatever. This is a wonderful mode. And literally I've got yeah, like a default setting. I believe that's the default. I don't know if it's actually the default or if it's one that I've created. Anyway, there are so many great combinations. It's really difficult to. It's tough to spend too much time and not get a good result. You know. So anyway, I've got the default one on the natural and the root here. So kind of just pretty standard. And then on the arp, I've gone for the up alternate classic. So again, it's quite a standard sort of settings. Just the mode was the important switch here, really. So yeah, that starts the whole movement and rhythm. And let's talk about the sound design then. We'll do it one step at a time. So I've basically got the wavetable. I've gone for the oct stack pluck. It's some sort of a sine wavy kind of thing. But I've used a few of the effects. I've got the sine mode on here and the spectral phaser mode, and I'm modulating these in line with the amplitude again. So like I mentioned previously, the arp sort of sets the rhythm up, and then the amplitude, it kind of, you know, it feeds into the amplitude envelope, and then I can use that to track to other things. So I've tracked the amplitude envelope to the phaser warp a little bit, and to the fold sine as well. And there's a position knob here to change the shape, obviously. I messed with that later on the second version, but the first version here I've just done 33%, detuning the wavetable here as well. I've left the fundamental on. You can turn it off if you want to like take out some low end, but I've left it on here. We can probably we've got like a few things to add in here with the FM as well, which is really, really nice. But yeah, that's how the sound started essentially. Okay, I'm just playing. I think it's a D. Yeah. All right, so that's how it all begins. And having that arp on first to get the movement and get the amplitude envelope moving, you know, that was the important part, really, you know. So then next I add in let's put the sub in next, actually. So yeah, banging in a sub underneath, -2, turning the mono switch on. Really nice. And I've turned up the knock and the drive a little bit, so a bit of a punch to it and bit of distortion, like a subtle amount, you know. Really, really nice. Then I've gone ahead and added in some white noise in the sample section, and this is actually turned off. I've high passed it and I've detuned it, turned the voices all the way up, turned the pitch all the way up, and the fine tuning. So, but then I turned the level off, and then I'm feeding it into the sub via the granular via the FM here. It's really, really nice. Sounds like a lot crispier and nicer than using the white noise by itself. So I'm just feeding it in. Feeding it in about 4% there, right? Sounds really, really cool. Then I've got a granular generator activated, and I've gone for the Helms keys, which is on the factory tonal. These sound really cool with this sound. I flicked through a few different ideas, and this was, I think, the best one. So if I turn that up, yeah, it adds a bit of a higher pitched harmonic to it. And again, it's sort of naturally following the ARP rhythm anyway, which is excellent. And then I've used the granular sound here to feed into my original wavetable over here. So I've turned up the amount on, well, I've actually modulated the amount. Yeah, so you can go a bit further and get like, yeah, a bit more Robotronic with it. But I have chosen to do like a subtle amount of digi noise on there. Just blending things in like a little bit here and there to like refine the sound is really cool. Like just doing a few percent on the FMs is like has a really nice effect, you know, just like kind of like yeah, just enhances the sound, you know, one step at a time. Really, really nice. Okay. Yeah, so we've got the white noise, we've got the sub, we got our main sort of detuned oscillator, and we've got our granular sound now. Blended in a little bit here and there with a bit of FM, and the chord on, the ARP running, sounding excellent, right? So moving on to the effects section, I've basically used 4 settings, and again, I've been really just enjoying the presets because they're just a really quick way to get the right sound. So I've used the brighten up mode on the polar distortion. A really nice like saturation, keeps it clean. Then I've done a mind the gap on the flex chorus, which is really nice because it added a lot of extra stereo width, really nice and warm and tight as well. And mixing that in down here to about 19%. Then I've done a hybrid filter, which adds a really nice shape to the sound, really. If I turn that up, it's sort of doing like a bit of a mid-range boost and then a little bit of chaos in the high end, but I've used it only about 25% or so, and then mixing it back on my amplitude envelope again, so I'm mixing this effect in. But it really, yeah, it gives just a little bit more emphasis to the low mid-range, so it kind of shapes the sound in this frequency spectrum to make it nice and defined. Then the wave shifter, again, I've used over here I've used the preset called High Crunch, and this is really, really nice. This gives you this like high-end digital fizz on the sound, but it's like a really nice high quality kind of effect. And I've just mixed this in again on my rhythm in line with the ARP, mixed in the wet signal a bit. So giving a bit of like punch in the high end always when the ARP stabs, you know. So that's all I've done. Then at that point I was like, this sounds excellent already. I don't really need to do anything else. So that was it really, you know. I still haven't even begun to play with the macros, but I could do that in a future video. That is my plan. But it just already sounded so good like this. I was like, this is done. Okay, and then so what I did next for the second version is I took the same patch and I just tweaked it a little bit. Yeah, so for the second version, I basically changed a couple of settings in the chord and the ARP. So the chord is actually still the same, but I've just used a different inversion. So I've gone for the second inversion down here. And for the ARP, I've changed it to the runner. So it's got really nice rhythms in already. So yeah, just like switched up the rhythm, switched up the chord inversion, kept the mode the same, and then basically also in the ARP I've actually lengthened it a bit here. So I'm always thinking in call and response. So another way to make this contrasting to the previous one is to lengthen the ARP, you know, the decay on it, because the first one was a bit tighter, so this one's a bit longer. And then I quickly also changed the position on the first wavetable, so it's the same, everything else is the same, but as I mentioned near the beginning of the tutorial, I settled on about 33% for the first one. But over here I've just moved it up a bit to change the tonality a bit to 50%. And I just gave it a little bit more of that Robotronic drive in the FM section here. Yeah, so that was really wonderful. And that's all I've really changed. And then, you know, that already has this great effect of now where I've got two versions, like a call and response from the same, the same bass ARP, but just done two ways, you know? So I bounced it out so you can kind of just hear how it is. So easy to create that like sound and that rhythm this morning. Like it was really fun to make as well. And then I've just slapped on a couple of LFOs so I can carve out a bit of space for the kick and snares in this break. And yeah, Bob is your uncle. But yeah, really enjoyed that. Really nice way to create like different ARPs and different kind of chord inversions super easily. And yeah, really enjoying the sound design blending of having a nice oscillator with a bit of detuning and movement, and then yeah, just reinforcing it with a nice sub, adding a bit of white noise FM'd into that sub, getting a bit of a granular texture on top of everything, and also then running a bit of that granular sound into the wavetable via a bit of FM over here. And I've got the oscillator and the granular sound high passed just a little bit, so about 85 hertz to give a bit of extra space for the sub to have to do its thing down right at the bottom, you know. And then that's all then going through into the effects. And the effects this time I've chosen ones that they each enhance the sound very clearly on each setting. So the brighten up, really nice saturation and clean. The mind the gap, really nice bit of extra width, super like controlled, you know, mixing it in on the dry wet. The hybrid filter, trying to add a bit of like more definition in the shape of the mid range. And then the wave shifter is kind of almost like a bit of distortion again to like emphasize the high end a bit more on the stab, kind of on the beginning parts of the stabs that the ARP creates. So yeah, that's been really good. And yeah, the mode as well, excellent to switch between the modes and see what kind of vibe you could get by just flicking around there. So really cool. Really blown away at the moment by this. Yeah, a couple of other things. That's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, really nice. Yeah, just using a subtle amounts of FM between the sound sources in like some clever ways to like just slowly blend everything together and give it like a little bit more presence and a bit more power, like one stage at a time, you know. So yeah, really cool. All right, my dudes, I hope you enjoyed that video today. More from me very soon. Much love.